Good morning, Facebook, and good morning, YouTube. I am so excited to be with you. I am Sheila Maria. I am a psychic medium, and this morning I'm very excited to talk to you about spiritual agreements. Good morning. Okay, I'm just going to get my group up in Facebook. Just bear with me. So they have the opportunity to benefit from this as well. Just give me a moment and then we'll dive straight in. So one of the things that light workers experience is cycles of lack and limitation. And if being positive, if thinking positive, if feeling positive was honestly enough, you would all have lots and lots of money by now. So I want to tell you a little bit of my story. So recently I invested in somebody to assist me with going to the next level in my business. And my business is going really, really well. I'm super passionate about it. And what came through was really interesting because I do money clearings, financial clearings, abundance clearings. These are all things that I do. And what actually came through was a bunch of spirits I had made up to 7 and agreements from as far back as the Orion Wars, off-planet agreements. And I already understand that our energy system is far more complex than credit for. And these karmic agreements are what the subconscious taps into when we try to do something new. And the reason the subconscious does that is to keep us safe. So one of the things that Archangel Michael did for me is he guided me to somebody that could help me to move forward. I had to pay for that help. It wasn't free. It was well worth it. And the fact that I found this person who does not advertise is simply because I was ready to move forward. So I want to talk to you about how important it is if you're experiencing a cycle in any way that you can't break through. Don't put it down just to needing to be more positive again, okay? So some of the agreements that we have are what we call automatic or de facto spiritual agreements. And this means that they are an experience that our soul has had so many times that when we come into certainly an earthly lifetime, our subconscious just goes to what's been done to us before, what's been perpetrated against us or around us, or what we've taken part in. And every time we try to break the cycle and move forward, our subconscious fears death, and so enacts the energy of those automatic experiences that we're not even aware of through our personality ever happened to us. So I want to go through some of these this morning. So some of them are to do with violent boundary infringements. Now, of course, this can mean lives where we were captured, persecuted, executed, sacrificed, right? But that's not what I'm talking about in regards to abundance. I am talking about people consistently taking advantage of you. And these might be people that you love very much and people that love you very much. So I'm talking about people that make you responsible for their well-being when it is not your responsibility. And the fact that they are making you responsible for their well-being is robbing you of the vital energy that you need to manifest anything new. Okay. Another violent boundary infringement is basically agreeing to remain invisible, agreeing to stay hidden. Because, and this is so powerful, when our subconscious says, I'm going to stay hidden, basically what happens is the universe can't see you. So you can be thinking life is wonderful and, you know, getting a parking ticket and clapping your hands and going, hey, it's happening for me, and all of that. If you have at a cellular level agreed to stay hidden, agreed to be invisible, it isn't just people that want to hurt you or people that would judge you that can't see you. It's the universe as well. Literally, your etheric template is invisible. And even though you've got guides, even though you've got your higher self, they cannot and will not interfere in your free will, and your subconscious is part of your free will. So what we're asking you to be aware of is a lot of these agreements kept you alive, kept you with a roof over your head, kept you safe in very, very difficult times, but they're not helping you in the lifetime where you're supposed to be empowered and in the lifetime where you're supposed to help others. If they can't find you, if they can't see you, if they just scroll by you, okay, if they watch somebody else's video, if they go to another healer, if they don't go to anyone to help them, if they just think that nobody can help them, you're not doing what you agreed to do before you came, because your subconscious is saying, we need to be invisible, we need to hide. Now, your thought process can be very different to this. So we also have something called a block to co-creation. Now, this was new to me, and this is actually held within the core chakra and also the throat chakra. Okay, it's actually held just below the higher heart. It's held here, and this is literally where you agree to keep a head on your shoulders, right? So that could have been execution, being cast out by your tribe, being left unmarried, not being given a dowry, whatever it was for you. Okay, the last to eat. Okay, you were the Cinderella of the family or the tribe, whatever it was. So this block is about not being able to co-create. So you can overgive, you can slave, you can serve, you can sacrifice, but you can never create. Okay, so this is one of the blocks that I had, and it was vital that I get that sorted. The other spiritual agreement that we had very, very often, this was about ignoring our divine guidance. And very, very often, the advice of our guides that we would receive either through our intuition or through a dream or through an epiphany or through an urge was contradicted by patriarchy, the religion, the government, you know, the liege lord, the tribal king, whatever it was, the head of the clan. So this agreement, this subconscious agreement, basically says, I will ignore the push to grow. So with all of these agreements, what's happening, whether they are betrayal agreements, whether they are being diminished psychically, being diminished spiritually, so the universe doesn't see you, the universe doesn't pick up on how happy you're making yourself be, whether it is to do with you know, being hidden, being overlooked, only being able to overgive, sacrifice, or serve. Whatever these agreements are, what happens is your subconscious, when you reach a point where you're supposed to grow, right, so abundance can come in whatever form you want it, the subconscious goes, no, no. And you keep thinking those positive thoughts, you keep trying to generate those positive feelings, and nothing changes, because what the subconscious does is it goes to your auric library about whichever area that you're being invited to break the boundary in. So let's say it's to do with meeting a new soulmate. Okay, let's not make this about money. And you know, you've been invited out on a date, or somebody said, God, there's this amazing dating agency, there are some amazing people on there, and you go, all right, and no, I better not. What happens is that you just don't move forward, and that whole file, that whole karmic record repeats. And these are what we call automatic or de facto spiritual agreements. They're just happening because you've been on earth in really horrific times, and a lot of these things actually came from the medieval times, like the 1200s. What actually happens is that the more you try to manifest moving forward, the more your subconscious refers to those automatic spiritual agreements. So the message I have for you today is really vital. However you do it, you need, number one, to be aware of when it is time for you to move forward. Number two, don't just do what you've always done that only brings you to the same point again. Maybe you're somebody that you try to be happy all the time, you try to be positive, and then when there is an opportunity, you think it costs too much money, or it's going to cost you too much time, or your spouse won't understand, or it's going to interfere with your routine with your kids, whatever it is, you will just keep circling back to that point, right? And what happens is that your higher self gets fed up of this, and your higher self will cause things in your life to break down so that you have to move forward. Okay, so number two, when you come to that point that you know you're ready to act, if you are aware that you just can't quite go to that next level, even though you know you need to, and most of you are very intuitive, it's like you know that nothing's going to change unless you do this, right? But you just can't. Emotionally you can't, or it just worries you, or it causes you anxiety, and then it doesn't feel positive at all, so why would you do it, right? Number three, get those automatic spiritual agreements updated, please, because it can be done, and you have to do it thoroughly. So some of the agreements that I got updated were agreeing to be seen, agreeing to be heard, agreeing to be accountable. I had issues in my heart, my liver, my kidneys, my spleen. I even had the death hormone very strong. I had vows of being used and abused. There were patriarchal karmic patterns, violent interference with my thoughts and thought forms, catastrophe, agreements that the rug would be pulled from under me whenever I was at a breakthrough point, betrayals, physical violations, emotional violations, spiritual violations, desperation, infanticide, so where I'd actually kill my children so that I could live, which is just horrific because I adore my kids. I've never done that. So many different ones that I did not know. Diminishing and horrific agreements to do with submissiveness, subversiveness, poverty, inherited abuse patterns, agreements to have prejudices aimed at me, right? All of these things were to do with coercion and manipulation of the mental and soul field. So it is so important to update your spiritual agreements however you can. If you want some help with this, this is the work that I do. This is the work I will be doing. I have got one space left only on the Archangel Michael money class. You are going to get most of that work done for just £77. Again, remember what we said. You will just keep coming back to that point, and eventually your higher self will make something break to push you through. I don't want any of you to go through that. It's very painful. Once you've updated your spiritual agreements, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from moving forward. It can take some time. So do get in contact with me if you want some help with this. For now, lots of love. We hope you have a wonderful week, and goodbye for now.